Hi, I'm Daryl, and today we're going to talk about modal verbs. Modal verbs are often seen as a difficult part of the English language because they can have multiple functions. In this video, we're going to look at modal verbs in general, in both the present and the past, and examine some of the main functions of each one. So, for obligation and necessity, we use have to, must, and should. Have to and must are used to express obligation. There is only a small difference in the way that they are used. Have to usually shows us that the obligation is externally imposed. It's generally used to describe laws or rules. You have to wear a seatbelt when driving. I have to wear a suit to work. This is the dress code. Must is normally used to express a more personal obligation. The obligation comes from the speaker rather than from an external rule or law. I must go to the dentist. My tooth is killing me. You must hand in the report by Friday at the latest. The modal verb must doesn't have a past form when talking about obligation, so we use had to express obligation in the past. Look at the two examples. I must go to the dentist. My tooth is killing me. I had to go to the dentist yesterday. My tooth was killing me. Should can also be used to express a weaker obligation. It's more a strong recommendation rather than an obligation. You should go to the dentist if your tooth is hurting you. You shouldn't listen to music at that volume. It's bad for your hearing. Now, let's take a look at prohibition. Both mustn't and can't show that something is not allowed, that it is prohibited. Look at the examples. You mustn't interrupt the boss when she is speaking. You can't wear casual clothes to work. There is a strict dress code. Mustn't shows the prohibition is more personal, whereas can't shows that it is a law or rule. Although we have this small difference between the words must and have to and mustn't and can't, you will sometimes hear English speakers using must and mustn't for rules and laws. Now, we cannot use don't have to express prohibition, even though it is the negative form of have to. Don't have to means there is no obligation to do something. It means you can do it if you want, but it's not necessary. Let's look at some examples. You don't have to pay to enter. It's free. You don't have to come with me if you don't want to. As you can see from the examples, don't have to shows that it is not necessary to do something. Now, when we speak about permission and requests, we use can and could. For example, could I go to the bathroom? Could you pass me the salt, please? May and might are used only for permission. May or might I have a moment of your time? I need to speak to you. May and might are much more tentative and therefore more polite than can and could. Can and be able to are used to express ability. The past forms are could and was able to. For example, I can speak several languages. I could run 100 meters in less than 12 seconds when I was younger. If we want to talk about a specific event in the past, which someone did, then we use was able to or managed to. Even though I didn't have much time, I was able to finish my homework. I managed to climb to the top of the mountain despite the bad weather. Now, could, might, and may are used to talk about possibilities in the present and future. My book isn't here. It could be in my bedroom. They think it might be sunny at the weekend, so let's go to the beach. We use must when we want to say that we are very sure that something is true, usually because we have strong evidence that this is so. She must be tired. She's been driving all day to get here. In the past, we use must to talk about things which we think definitely happened. The form is must plus have plus the past participle. She must have been very sick yesterday. She never takes a day off. When we want to say that we are sure that something is not true, we don't use mustn't, but instead we use can't. We usually have strong evidence that this is not true. In the past, the form is can't or couldn't, plus have, plus the past participle. He can't be happy about the results. He failed the test. He can't or couldn't have committed the murder because he was not in the country at the time. We use could, may, or might to speculate about events which we think are possible. I think Kate could be sick, which is why she hasn't come to class. We use could, might, or may plus have plus the past participle to mean that something possibly happened in the past. Olivia could, might, or may have gotten lost, which is why she hasn't arrived yet. Finally, let's look at the modal verb should. We saw earlier how should can be used as a weaker obligation or recommendation, but it also has other functions. It's commonly used to give advice. You should talk to him if you're worried about what he thinks. It can be used in the past to talk about something that didn't happen, but you wish it had happened. I should have called him. Now he's worried. I should have handed in the report before Friday, but I didn't. My boss will be angry now. It can also be used in the past in the negative form to express regrets or things that happened but you wish they hadn't. I shouldn't have eaten so much because now I feel sick. He shouldn't have forgotten to bring a map because now he's lost. This brings us to the end of the explanation about modal verbs. As you can see, modal verbs can have more than one function. I hope my explanations have been useful, and thank you very much for watching.